I'm reading this from 3 News. And it says, Anglo chiefs demand MP's identity over Senator Rawlings' insult. And I read, the Anto Duco Council has petitioned the Speaker of Parliament to identify the Member of Parliament who allegedly made a disparaging remark against Honorable Senator Rollins during the ministerial approval session on February 4, 2025. Now, in a statement signed by Togbi Agbesi Awusu III, our dada of Anglo Duco, the council expressed outrage over the comment reportedly directed at Dr. Ajiman Rollins, referring to her as the daughter of a murderer. The alleged outburst occurred amid heated exchanges in Parliament during the approval of Honorable Samuel Okudzeto Blakk. Now, the statement noted that earlier speculation pointed to Honorable Abu Junapo, MP for Damongu, and Honorable Nana Kwame Asafoje, MP for Bosome Freho. However, both lawmakers have denied making the remark. Múrd3rer III, the overlord of Anglo, and the chiefs of the council have called for a swift investigation, demanding that the Speaker of Parliament reveals the identity of the MP responsible by February 10, 2025. And it is February 10, 4 days from now, or else ... They emphasize that identifying the individual would guide their next course of action. My brother, my sister, the person who called Senator the daughter of a murderer, was he right or wrong? My brother, my sister, in the days of Rollins, we suffered terror. Those of you who were not yet born in 1979, we saw horror in this country. People were abducted and killed summarily. We saw judges abducted and set ablaze. My brother, my sister, the mystery of which, my brother, my sister, is still pending in the clouds. Rollins denied involvement, yet it happened in his regime. In the regime of Rawlings, we saw women in Kajetia market stripped naked and whipped in their vaginas. We saw people abducted and taken to the Gonda barracks and some other such barracks and shaved with blunt instruments and blades. We saw, my brother, my sister, people who were carried away and beaten, most of whom we were told were dead, and carried all the way to the morgue at 37. One of them finally survived. He went on to move into exile and later came back into this country to become a minister of energy. Do we all remember this person? It was all in the days of Rollins. Can we run away from the heinous crimes of Rollins in his regime from 1979? The several murders and bloodshed. And even at the time, Ghanaians were asking Rollins to let more blood flow. How do you let blood flow when you don't murder people? Rollins was a murderer. It's the truth. What are you running away from? So when people die, when murderers die, they all of a sudden become saints? Is that what you are saying? Because we live in a country where Atayi all of a sudden will become Saint Atayi because he's dead. Say no bad thing about the dead. That is your motto. Until we start to shame the dead, like they did in Belgium when Leopold II died and they threw his dead body right in the middle of the street for people to hoot at and spit at. My brother, my sister, crime and foolishness will never ever stop in this country. Rawlings was a murderer, my brother. When the elections came, listen attentively, and listen, people were killed in the reign of Nana Akufo-Addo. What did we say? That Nana Akufo-Addo murdered some people during the elections. Mahama says when he comes into power, he would institute an investigation into it, and he started already. My brother, my sister, who do we say killed the people? They said Nana Akufo-Addo did because it was his regime. Rollins was a soldier who went into a bloody coup d'etat. Bloody coup d'etat, shot and killed many in order to gain power. Should we give him a bouquet of flowers for the coup d'etat that saw the lives of many? Have we so soon forgotten our history? The bloodiest coup d'etat that ever happened in this nation was instituted by Rollins. He killed many in order to become leader of this nation. Is that not a murderer? So I am wondering why there's so much noise, and the coward MP who also mentioned it and cannot own up and come out and say, hey, I said it, and these are my reasons for saying that. That is the most cowardly, more cowardly than Baumia. If I had the opportunity to stand before these chiefs, I will honorably ask them to tell me how you will define or call a man who murdered many in order to become leader, in whose regime innocent judges were carried out, including a woman killed and set ablaze at Bondazzi. Why can't we speak the truth anymore? What is wrong with us? Zenator is the daughter of a murderer. That is correct. But does that make her a murderess? No. She cannot inherit the crimes of her father. Do we understand that? But that does not mean she is not a daughter of a murderer. She is. Let us call a spade a spade. Should we call Zenator the daughter of a pastor, or the daughter of a reverend, or the daughter of a saint? No. We saw the bloodiest violence in this country in the reign of Rawlings. Many people went down the drain. In my days as a little boy, anytime Rollins' name was mentioned, we all ran under the bed. I was only 5 at the time Rollins took over power in 1979. My brother, my sister, we have seen so much bloodshed in this country, all in the days of Rollins. And today, if his children are being described as the children of a murderer, and we are crying, Anglo chiefs are all coming out, they want to know that these are disparaging remarks. What is disparaging about a murderer whose children are called the daughters and sons of murderers? Do you think that they would ever call the daughter or the sons of Kwame Nkrumah sons and a daughter of murderer? A murderer? Will they ever say that? No, because Nkrumah murdered nobody. In the days of Kwame Nkrumah, there was nothing like capital punishment ever endorsed by Kwame Nkrumah. They rather attempted to kill him several times, but even with that, he was still very tactful and level-headed. He never ordered the pulling of a trigger. In the days of Rollins, the gun was the master. Soldiers were gods and demigods. When we saw soldiers on the streets, we ran. Some of you are so young, you do not understand what it was in 1979 and all the way after 79. We saw blood. I saw blood. I saw people shaved and beaten to pulp. You dared not say anything against Rollins. Yes, thankfully, Rawlings also paved the way for democracy. But that does not erase the fact that he was a murderer. The quality of MPs is on the decline. And this is a gentleman called Atiq Muhammad. I've never met him. I don't know him, but I've heard him several times on radio, right? Atiq Muhammad has passed a judgment over the 9th Parliament of Ghana following Thursday's incident of violence involving the MPs. Now, the members of the appointments committee clashed with one another over a disagreement on vetting 2 ministerial nominees, Okujeto Ablakwa, Minister for Foreign Affairs, and Kwabena Minta Akando for the Health Minister. Now, the clash resulted in the MPs destroying tables and microphones, hence compelling the Speaker of the House, Alban Sumana Bagbina, to suspend 4 of them. Now, the suspension has, however, been lifted after the leadership of the minority and majority caucuses pleaded on their members' behalf and rendered apologies to Ghanaians. Now, joining Wednesday's panel on Peace FM's Okroku morning show, Atik Mohammed expressed disappointment in the conduct of some parliamentarians and surmised that they seem to consider parliament as an insurance policy instead of a serious house of business. Referencing their behavior in the 8th parliament that was dissolved on the eve of John Mahama's swearing in on the 7th of January 2025, Atik said, "This is my assessment, and a sincere one at that, of Parliament. It's like over the period, the quality in the House is gradually going down, and that is a really, really good source of worry. To him, Parliament is becoming an insurance for politicians who think their party will go into opposition. So let me go buy that insurance." But stressed, Parliament cannot be an insurance for politicians. It cannot be a safe haven for politicians. Mohammed has been so mild, describing Parliament as an insurance policy for some politicians. In fact, as I said the other day, the Ghana Parliament is no more a parliament house, it's a shit house. Excuse my language. Borrowing the words of Trump, the President of America. Better still, the returned President of America. Look, in my days, many were those who wanted to be parliamentarians. In fact, in school, we were made to know who was an MP for where and what his name was. Sometimes a mini biography we had to know. We knew almost every parliamentarian. Today, who cares? Parliamentarians are even asking each other, "Who are you? Are you an MP?" They don't even know each other. My brother, my sister, Parliament has become a circus. The only difference is that these guys wear suits, but in the circus they have carrots dancing on their noses. I'm so ashamed of this dirty parliament. Dirty parliament. It looks like a lot of these MPs have no common sense of patriotism. It's so shameful. My brother, you went in there, broke tables. At a point, excuse my language, I thought this was a certain riot in Ashaiman, a certain riot in Nima, maybe a riot in cantonments, or Teshin, or Makati Hill. It didn't look like it was the Ghanaian parliament. Now they said there is some language that is unparliamentary. My brother, my sister, the Ghanaian parliament does not have a lexicon of parliamentary language. Can I say it again? The Ghanaian parliament has no lexicon for parliamentary language. They use all kinds of language. They insult each other, demean each other, and to make it worse, they look like slaves on the plantation. Those who wear the suit, the coat, and the tie, the Italian-made shoes, and all those kinds of shoes, they look like slaves. As compared to the days of Kwame Nkrumah, when people wear kente. When they wore kente and wore fugu and the rest of them. Look at the photographs of Kwame Nkrumah's days of parliament. And this parliament that we have of some comedians joining the Ghanaian parliament. You know why? Because in these days, you don't need common sense to be a parliamentarian. All you need is money. And any idiot can have money. I'm angry. To be a parliamentarian, you don't need common sense now. No wonder Kennedy Japan said any cheap person can become a parliamentarian. And he was a parliamentarian at the time he said that. Alban Bagbin said it before, that parliament is full of bribery. If these are the insiders and they come out to tell you that this is what is happening in there, who are you, a dishonorable member, to challenge these honorables? I wonder how this parliament, the ninth whatever parliament, can purge itself of this terrible demeanor. Can I say it again? I wonder how this ninth parliament can purge itself, my brother, my sister, of this debt. I'm so ashamed. They broke tables, broke microphones that we imported into the country, tables that I am told we imported from China. We saw how in their coats and ties they were pulling the legs of tables. And did I hear that they squeezed people's testicles? Did I hear that? Did they squeeze anybody's testicles? Is there another word for testicles so that I don't sound raw on radio? Please, can you give me another word for testicles? Or should I just say balls? I hear an MP by name Dafia Mekpo. I hope I got the name right. His balls were squeezed. Somebody went under the table, held his balls and squeezed the balls so hard he felt the pain in his medulla oblongata. What is happening? Right now you have gone beyond breaking microphones, gone beyond breaking the legs of tables imported from China, to squeezing balls. It's sad. And this is supposed to be called the gateway to Africa. And they went to plead with Alban Bagbin to let those four guys come back. Why did he let them back? I wish there was a way constituencies could come back and say, hey, this MP, we don't want to, we want a referendum. Because now it's a shame of a parliament. And I am most sad as a patriot. After saying all this, when you meet me outside, I'm like ice water. You wouldn't believe that this was the guy who said all these things on radio. Because when I'm on radio, I am on heat. The Holy Spirit descends on me and directs me to speak. The final story I would like to look at, and I might be done with this, is coming from Ghana Web, and it says, the only job you gave me is as an MP, not a minister. Isaac Adongo to constituents over nomination snob. And I read, Bolgatanga Central Member of Parliament Isaac Adongo has called on his constituents to remain calm regarding their concerns that he has been excluded from the recently announced deputy ministerial list by the president. While addressing the agitation among some youth in the constituency, Adongo said he had seen the disappointments in them, but urged them to rather continue to give support to President John Dramani Mahama's administration. Now, the MP reiterated his dedication to serving the people of Bolgatanga Central, stressing that this top priority as MP is to represent and advocate for his constituents' interest in Parliament. Now, my brother, this is a PR to remind President Mahama that Adongo is still around and that he has some group of people called supporters who are so huge that they will be so disappointed in the party and President Mahama if he is not nominated as a deputy minister. How many people can see the PR? Stop giving the president unnecessary, childish, infantile pressure. Pressure, many. The president decides who to put in there. He has promised that he would use 60. Give him the opportunity to sit down and think. Don't give him pressure. Hey, your supporters could be the whole of the world. If the president thinks that you are not fit for the position, don't give him pressure. Don't give him pressure, my brother. Do not give him pressure. Don't give the president pressure. Please. I stand to be corrected. Was it not this same gentleman here called Isaac Adongo who said that? What's the name of the woman? Victoria, right? Is it Victoria? Victoria Hammer. Yes, Victoria Hammer. Was it not this person, I stand to be corrected, who said that Victoria Hammer was a good woman and that she was actually framed? He's made some brilliant remarks here and there that I've, talked about. But I also remember that it was this gentleman here. Please correct me if I've made a mistake. Saying that Victoria Hammer was framed, for want of a better word, and that she should be reconsidered into whatever. And I sit back and say, is that how you think? A woman who was caught on tape saying that she was into politics just for her 1 million American dollars. She wasn't in there to serve the Ghanaian people. She wasn't in there for the sentiments of patriotism for the nation. She wasn't in there to leave a mark as a patriot. All she wanted was to live by her nickname or her spiritual name, Lakshmi, the goddess, the Hindu goddess of wealth. I was so disappointed. I don't go make that remark. Let me see if I can get that tape. I'm not too sure. Jesus have mercy.